Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Talk with Ben podcast. And I'm super excited that you decided to join me today, whether you're on the way home from work or whether you're just chilling at home with your family, or you're doing chores or whatever you are doing. I'm so happy you decided to join me. And if you're new, my name is Ben, and this is my podcast where I talk about life, my experiences, and just everything that goes on in this world and in my life. And I hope that you get encouragement from this. And I hope you will stay tuned for many episodes to come as I struggle to talk today. But I'm so glad you decided to join me, and I hope you enjoy. So Ben, today, I keep hitting the microphone. I'm sorry. This is not a good situation to start off the show with. So if you're watching on YouTube, obviously if you're listening, it's a little different. But if you're watching on YouTube, you notice I have this scarf around me, and I have this soccer jersey. Yeah, I'm about as stunned as you are because I never thought I'd be doing a video on YouTube or a podcast episode in a soccer jersey, or as we like to call it here in Hungary is footsie, or if you are from anywhere else, it's football or everything else other than soccer, because America decides to call everything different. But besides that, I had the opportunity this past weekend to go to a footsie match here in Hungary. It was between Újpest and Fradi. I can't pronounce the name. I'm wearing their jersey. I can barely pronounce their name. Excuse me if you're Hungarian. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce those things right. I'm trying. So, but anyways, we went to this match, and I went with Tanner, and I went with Diego. And so even though this episode is going to be about that match, and this episode is going to be about a little bit what have I experienced, I'm actually coming out with a vlog probably on Saturday. It's going to come out. So you're listening to this on Tuesday. So in a couple of days, it's going to come out. I was able to record most of everything. I recorded parts of it before we went to the stadium with my camera. But then obviously I couldn't take a camera into the stadium, so I used my phone. So it's definitely different quality, but I had to capture all these moments. So it was really, really fun. And I guess I should give a background on how much I know about soccer before I start talking about this, because my background with soccer, or footsie or football or whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from, is, I never played it. Honestly, my cousin Brad, who was an amazing soccer player, played it all the way from, a kid from as a kid to high school before he graduated. And my brother played soccer. So I was around it, and I got to see it, but I never personally played. I've played FIFA, the video game, but that's not really playing. But so I got so basically, I guess I'm trying to say is going into this, I knew the basics of soccer. I knew, there's offsides. I knew the basic rules and some formations, little things here and there that I had picked up over the years. But honestly, I never didn't really ever understand the whole game of soccer. And so going into this, when Tanner invited me, I was first kind of like, oh, okay, soccer. But I remember many of my friends and my brother as well, that European footsie or football is so much more, I guess not even, it's more competitive, but it's also more energetic. And there's so much more that goes on to it than what it is in the MLS in the US. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go, at least for the experience. And it was good that Diego was there with us, because I was telling Tanner this on the way home yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, as I was telling him on the way back. I'm glad that you had someone that actually knew what they were talking about, because obviously Diego's from Peru. He's played soccer his whole life, lives and breathes soccer, loves soccer. So they were able to talk about that while they probably made fun of me from not knowing much. But anyways, it was a great experience. So that's the background of myself and soccer. So going to this event, I would say this, I was trying to figure out how do I how do I put thoughts together? It was one of those things where as I was going to it, as we were on the metro and as we were riding into Budapest, I'm going, okay, I don't know what I'm going to react to it. How am I going to react to it? But I think it's going to be fun. So, we get there, we had to get these special cards, and I don't know if I have my phone on me. Oh, here it is. But if you're watching on YouTube, so if you're not watching on YouTube, you should sometimes go watch it on YouTube. We had to get these little cards. I'm holding it up right now. It's not really in focus, but focus. There we go. So we got these cards that basically are like pass cards. That's how you get your tickets and stuff. And they like scan your palm print. It's like super high tech. So that was like one big experience thing that I guess I never really experienced. And it's kind of funny because, coming from America and it being some of the most secure, events to get into. I mean, the size of your bag matters and different things like that. I have never gone to an event where I've had to have my palm scanned and have a card that is a team card that's how you get into the game. And so it was really interesting. So that was really cool, but give a little background even on the teams, Újpest and Fradi, basically those two are bitter rivals, like kind of like Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, that bitter of rivals. Let's just put it this way. The purple team, which is Újpest, they basically had to come in, as what Tanner told me. It was like they have like police escorts to get the fans in, and it's kind of crazy because Újpest is on one side of Budapest, and then Fradi is on the other side. But they don't. It goes back, years, and so there's just this like hatred, this kind of like distaste for each other, and you definitely could see this as you go in. Just even on the bus arriving there, just like he was translating for us, and the hate and just the man. It was one thing. It's hard to explain. Honestly, like you have to kind of be there to kind of get the whole picture. But honestly, though, it was really fun just to see that. I've seen the Michigan Ohio State rivalry. I see that passion, and I would even go above and say this might be definitely more vulgar and definitely more of that hate driven. I think with Michigan Ohio State, it's kind of passed down generations, which is the same here, but I just think there was just so much more like actual hate towards each other. And, it was definitely interesting because, and the crazy part about it is this is not like a big rivalry in all of Europe. Like there's obviously other big rivalries, but this one especially, I guess, is just kind of intense. And the intensity, speaking of the experience, the intensity as you walk into the stadium, you get through all the different things, you find your seat. We sat on, the middle of the pitch. See, threw in a soccer word, middle of the pitch, which was really cool. Actually, where we were at, we were like the second to the top row, which actually honestly wasn't that bad. And there's which I didn't know this. I learned this. Like I said, I'm going to be sharing a lot of things I learned. There's things called ultras, or a group of people called ultras and hooligans, which I think is kind of funny. So basically, in layman's terms, ultras are like super fans, like the dog pound for the Cleveland Browns, or kind of the super fans for the High State Buckeyes that go to every game and they sit in this certain section. They have a leader. They do all these chants and these different things. Some of them I could not repeat on here. There was a lot of interesting things said. But at the end of the day, the passion for their team came out, and the passion for footsie and what that team meant to the city or to that specific part of the city is crazy. And just, it was really interesting. They had they're called the Green Monsters, and these ultras would have chants, like I said, but they had pyrotechnics and smoke bomb things. And it was so interesting. As someone who is an American, and we all know that if you brought that into a stadium in America, you would probably get arrested. But here, you just have firemen lined up and waiting for it to burn out, and then they toss them to the firemen, they put the rest of it out. And it's so interesting. And it was definitely an experience that I obviously got on film. I filmed so much of this, which you'll be seeing the video on Saturday if you tune into my YouTube channel. So you should subscribe. But yeah, it was really cool. That experience specifically. And it was one of those things where like everything was just the passion was seen in everything from, the chants. I actually got the scarf at the game. Basically they just won their 31st championship and they have these new scarves, which was kind of cool. So I said, I don't wear scarves, but this would be great for a little to take to another game. If I go to another game, I mean, I might as well. I got the card now. I might as well go to a couple games. But yeah, so that was the experience. It was kind of crazy. And so the game itself, I'm going to be honest. Again, I'm probably gonna get some flack for this, but I still don't really enjoy soccer. Like even after being to this is the most professional game. And I know there's better European soccer out there. Even what Diego told me, you can ask Diego on that one. But even for me, like, I don't know, it was good. Like it was definitely a lot more fast paced than the college soccer I usually watch or excuse me. There we go. Or even, Major League Soccer for that matter. It was definitely faster paced than that. But, according to even Tanner, who's a huge fan of this team, it was still slower than most European teams, but it was still really awesome. Like the pace of the game was so much quicker than what I'm used to watching. But it was really cool. Like just, and even like the atmosphere in the game itself, the experience in the game is like, obviously there's no English. So it's like, it's really cool to like, just watch and like, you don't have to worry about the announcement. Like you're just focused on the game, which was really cool. And like people next to us, it was funny, like the looks we would get because, Tanner's translating or talking in English and they're all looking at us like, like what are you guys doing here? But it was still cool. It was still like, I kind of compared it and obviously it's hard to compare because it's definitely an experience of itself. But I would say, I've never been to a Ohio State Michigan game. I think the atmosphere of like the rivalry was definitely of that, but I would say it's about the kind of the atmosphere you would see at a college football game, but I think a little bit more intense, because of how much soccer means to these people and to this country. But even to Europe all around. It's funny how I keep bouncing between soccer and footsie. It depends on what comes to mind, but yes, we call it footsie here. But overall, it was a great experience. The game again was like, it was super cool because like, I guess because if you watch like American football in the States, like halftime is super long and there's so many commercials, but like it was so cool with this game because, obviously there was no commercials. But even like at halftime, it was 15 minutes. Like that's unheard of in a professional sporting event to have a 15-minute halftime and then you start playing again. So it was really cool. The stadium itself was beautiful. It's one of the newer stadiums. It was very gorgeous. They have a big eagle out in front. But yeah, overall the experience of the game itself was really cool. And I learned a lot more about soccer, learning about different, formations and moves and all that kind of stuff, was really cool. And it just kind of brought me back to watch my brother play. And to enjoying, watching a game that I don't quite understand. I don't, I think still don't fully understand soccer or footsie, as some would, but I definitely am learning more. And as someone who I really try to learn about sports and I learn about, especially like me being sports coordinator here at World Life Camps, I want to be able to talk with kids about the sport they love and to learn more. I did the same thing with my friends that played tennis. Like I would try to learn about tennis, or golf the same way. But because I always say there's not one sport that is like the king of sports. Some might say soccer, some might say basketball, but honestly, sports is just so cool. You get to spend time, playing a game of whatever it is, with, 10, 11, 12 of your best friends. And there's nothing much better than that. So that was really cool. The game itself, we ended up winning. Fradi ended up winning 1-0, which I got the goal on film, which to me, honestly, was like, that was my most exciting moment because I normally miss that kind of stuff, but it was really cool. And like afterwards, they're celebrating, shooting these, they were basically like, it was pyrotechnics basically, which was really funny and just kind of like, I don't know. It was just like, I'm just so not used to it at like a professional sporting event to see pyrotechnics, but at least like, I guess I'm used to seeing pyrotechnics, but not from like fans. That was the weird part, was like seeing fans just, pull these things out of their pockets and light them and then take all their shirts off. And it was just like, okay. But it was super cool and really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, my thoughts. So that kind of moves me into like my thoughts of the whole experience. I mean, it was kind of cool too, because, we got to spend, the day in Budapest because we got there early to get tickets and stuff, and then hang out with friends and then just kind of walk around, enjoy each other's company. We were supposed to stay in a hotel, but we realized the neighborhood probably wasn't the best choice. So we ended up staying at Airbnb, really, Ben? Airbnb, which was really fun, actually. Never done that before, but it was cool. It was in a kind of an older building, but it was a very modern place, and just cool place to just not have to worry about coming home late at night, because the game was at 9:00, which meant it wasn't going to be over till 11:15. So it was good that we had a place that we could stay for the night. Just a great experience, all day, leading up to it. And, my thoughts after is like, I definitely have a new perspective of soccer, of footsie. I think because I've always had a negative context. I think it's just because I didn't grow up with it. And honestly, my brother liked it and my cousin Brad liked it, but, my dad didn't, and I wanted to like sports my dad did growing up. But then I guess I just never really got into watching it. I played FIFA like with friends, but that's not the same. And so for me, just being able to, and try to enjoy it and try to understand it. And I think I have more respect because of the European style, and me being an American, it's hard to actually, watch something that, is not as good as what obviously is else out there. And so, yeah, I think the quality of soccer, even though it might not be the best in Europe, it still was so much better than what I've ever watched. And I think it gave me a better respect for soccer. But I think another thing too was just like the experience alone is what made the night for me. I think even Tanner said that after we got back, was like, I think, Ben, you just love the experience. Like I truly did. Like it was just, for a guy that loves sports, and I love the atmosphere. And I always say like fans are what make sporting events. I've played in front of like no fans, and you don't get adrenaline as an athlete. But when you're there with all these fans, and when you're there just, having fun, and just enjoying, playing with your best friends and seeing your fans up there, it's really, really cool. And so for me, the experience was above probably anything else. And honestly, it's something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. And I never once thought I would say that about a soccer match. Really, I never thought I would say that. But I think, again, it wasn't just the game, the game itself. It was the experience, the enthusiasm. And I would say, I think soccer fans here in Europe might have more enthusiasm than most football fans in America. And I'm not afraid to say that as a football fan myself. I think it's just the atmosphere and like the passion that runs through their veins. Like everybody, old, young, women, children, wives were there. Like everyone loves the game of soccer. Everyone lives and breathes it. It means that much to them. And it's kind of hard to put it in perspective. Like what would it be like in America? I kind of compared it to college football, because I feel college football is kind of like that. College football is very passion based. It's very, there is some hate during some rivalries. Ohio State, Michigan, Auburn, Alabama, Texas, Oklahoma. Like there's a lot of those rivalries that, there is some hate, even though I don't approve of the hate. But yeah, and so I would say my thoughts are just is amazing event, and you'll see on Saturday just you'll feel it. I hope you do. It was just really, really cool. And, I'll be wearing, I'm pretty sure, green and white again. I'll probably hopefully go to a couple more games and while I'm here and enjoy it. I don't know how much I'll wear this scarf because it gets kind of itchy, but I just really enjoyed it. It was really, really cool. And I guess I give my advice would be anybody coming to Europe, whether you're a soccer fan or not, attend a professional soccer game. It's the one sport in Europe, all over Europe, that is a soccer match. Sorry. All over Europe. That is something that is a lot like it's like the version of, it's the atmosphere of football in America. It's like everyone wants to see a football game. You need to go see a soccer match in Europe, wherever you are. And so that would be my challenge. I think that's just fun. And again, I think, being able to be doing it with friends too. Like, I feel like if I went by myself, it might've been a different atmosphere as well, because one, I would have struggled to understand what was going on, but being able to have the backstory of the rivalry, the backstory of the team, of the stands, of the fans in the stands, and just that whole feeling, it helped me have a better grasp of what was going on, and being able to do that with friends is truly amazing. So, so that was my crazy weekend story. I think also it was funny is I broke my book bag, the one I got in Italy, which is slightly depressing, but, was able to get a new bag, but, I don't know why I just mentioned that. That was so random, but, no, I really enjoyed it. Again, I challenge anybody to go to Europe whenever you're there, if you ever go, and go to a soccer match. This is coming from a guy that if anybody that knows me knows I cannot stand soccer, and I'm gonna be honest, still probably wouldn't want to watch it every day, and probably wouldn't want to go to a game every week, but I really did enjoy it though. And I really did enjoy the atmosphere, maybe not the match itself, but I did enjoy the atmosphere. And so, yeah, that was my story for the day. I thought I would change it up a bit. I get kind of serious a lot on this podcast, and I was like, you know what? This is what I want to talk about this week. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for your support on the podcast, and also support on a lot of the media that I do. I really do appreciate it. It's really cool to see people that are affected by this, and I'm glad I bring encouragement to people, and it truly means a lot when you guys would reach out to me and share those kind of thoughts. So it's really, really cool. So once again, the podcast is going to continue going on every Tuesday and Thursday for at least another week, 2 weeks. And then we'll see from there, as well as, continue just listening and enjoying, drop your suggestions of what you would like me to talk about in the future. And so once again, I want to thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and favorite the podcast. It's easier to find that way. And you also can stay up to date every Tuesday and Thursday when episodes come out. And if you're listening on YouTube, listening and watching, I always say listening and watching on YouTube, then why don't you like the video? Why don't you subscribe below, hit that notification bell, because what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to see all my videos that come out. Again, I'm going to have the video about the soccer match coming out on Saturday, I believe, as well as just other videos I do, behind the lens with my buddy Daniel, Friday recaps, and other, short films that I do. I really want you guys to see all those. And the only way you can do that is by tuning into my YouTube channel every week. I probably put three to four videos up every week. So stay tuned for those. It would really mean a lot. So once again, I want to remind you that we serve an amazing God, that our God is faithful, that you can trust him. And as always, we'll talk next time.